welcome to you. My name's Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. For those of you who tuned in for my live video on Sunday, where I was so excited to tell you that I was about to use my beautiful pink sequin baguette for the first time, that is now wrapped up like police evidence from a murder scene, for obvious reasons. You'll know how that story ended because I posted on Instagram when I returned from my quick trip to the grocer that there were sequins missing from the back of this bag, and I'm going to show you all of that damage in this video today, and I'm also going to answer some questions that you left on my Instagram post about how Fendi has handled the situation and where it's at and what's going to be happening, whether I'm happy, and there are a few quite bitey questions in there which you would have seen on the thumbnail that I want to address here as well. If I go through the copious amounts of posts on this Instagram post that I put up, I'll put the picture here so you know which one to go look at. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please pop over there. I put an outfit of the day most of the time. I style my bags, I wear my bags, so if you're somebody who wants to see how bags work with outfits, then check out my Instagram. I also put some funny stuff on there from time to time as well, and I like to use stories. I do polls for videos as well, so sometimes I'll ask for your insight, and I actually did a poll that I'm going to refer to in this video too, around what you look for when you buy, and is quality the number one thing that you look for when you purchase luxury handbags. So let's go back to the beginning. And I will unpackage this bag and show you the damage. So Sunday, as I said, I had to pop out. I was making a nice cheese platter for my husband and I for lunch. So I popped out to the grocers and picked up some olives and some nice cheese. I was wearing the bag handheld. So let's unwrap it, shall we? The second reveal before she goes back to the source. And let's go, where are we? So I didn't have a Ziploc bag that was big enough to fit the bag in, so that's why it's been wrapped up like this, because you'll see in a minute when I show you the damage. So I was wearing the baguette handheld or on the crook of my arm, and I literally went to 2 stores. It was on the seat of my car while it was traveling, and I didn't even take it into the second store because I just left it on the car seat, grabbed my car key and my phone and just ran in quickly. So I got back, I was making the cheese plate, my bag was on the kitchen bench, and then I looked twice and I saw a loose thread, and then I looked closer and I saw that a sequin was missing, and I have no idea where it is. It hasn't turned up. And then as I investigated it, more sequins came off. And there's a story on my Instagram highlights where you can see that. But I want to show you here on the video where it happened. So just here you can see is where the sequins have detached. And I will see if I can insert the highlights footage and some close-up photos from my Instagram so that you can see the close-up pictures, because the camera is probably focusing on all the reflection here and not the actual damage. So about 4 sequins are missing from there now. Interestingly, one of the first pictures that I posted of this bag on my Instagram was this picture here, and when I look at that picture, I think it might have been Connor or somebody actually zoomed in and said that they think they can see where that loose sequin was, and I'm going to try and put a close-up of that in here so that you can see as well. So literally the first wear, and If you don't already know, this was the bag that I was going to be wearing to a very special wedding, Living Lux with Meredith's wedding in a few weeks. And so now I'm looking for a plan B. Well, I've found my plan B actually. Hopefully it arrives on time. I just want to show you inside of the baguette I have put the sequins that have fallen off so that you can see. So here's an example of one of the sequins. So it appears that based on how these bags are made, I'm going to try and get nice and close so you can see. Based on how these bags are made, there is like a run. I'm going to try and close this window and see if it helps. There we go. So there is a run of sequins that go down in a line here, and it looks as though they're just not individually knotted off, that they all are just linked together in like a running thread, and there's like a loop and a thread. And I'm not a sewer, but that's not really secure, is it? If you can miss a whole row just because one comes undone. So I'm not about to go and flick more off now. God, that's changed the light totally, hasn't it? So I'm not just going to flick any more off now because I think I've proven the point. I've got it on video and I've inserted it here for you to see. So now what? Maybe I should open those shutters again. Let there be light. Okay, so what's Fendi's response been to me? I'm going to tell you what it's been, but then I'm going to respond to some of the comments that have been made on my Instagram post. So initially I purchased the bag. You know what it looks like now. I don't have to pick it up, do I? I purchased the bag through Fendi in the UK because they were the only boutiques that were offering a pre-order on the pink Sequin Baguette. It was a US limited release and it was just good timing. And in my unboxing video, which I'll link up here, I'll tell you all about that. There was a time difference, obviously, so I didn't reach out to them straight away. I posted this on my Instagram stories, and I've got to say that immediately my beautiful sales associate here in Brisbane reached out to me and said, "Oh my God, I've just seen your post. I'm so sorry. I'm happy to help you in any way that I can. Let me know." She's on holiday at the moment. So thank you, Bibi. It was really touching that you would reach out like that. My sales associate, Sandy, in Melbourne, Chadstone, she reached out to me and saw my story and offered help and assistance as well. Now, I did not expect anyone here in Australia to help. Of course, I would ask them to help me liaise with London if London weren't going to be helpful. But the fact that they took it upon themselves to reach out was so appreciated, and so what I love and admire about Fendi. Now, somebody has asked a question on one of my posts about whether or not Fendi would do that for the average person. Is it just because that I have a public profile, Fendi are helping me? I'm going to get to that question a little bit later on. Later that afternoon, when it was getting closer to opening time in the UK, I sent a message on WhatsApp to Pay, my lovely sales associate there, and showed her the video of the bag, and she couldn't have been more helpful. So I received a response, and I've been talking to a few of you guys about some issues that you have had with Fendi and what you've kind of worked through in terms of solutions. Now, there is a time difference. I went to sleep. I woke up to a voicemail with some options. One option is that we have the bag repaired, and the bag could be repaired either through liaising with my local boutique and they would liaise with New Bond Street, or that I pack the bag up and send it back. And that might take between 6 to 8 weeks, depending on whether it's repaired locally or through the process of reporting the injury to the bag that Fendi headquarters advised that it needs to be sent to Rome for repair. Or I could send it back and have it refunded. Now, because it is an export piece, the refund process would be a little bit more complicated, but I feel as though that is still a genuine option that has been provided to me. I've decided that I'm going to have the bag repaired. I did take some counsel from a friend of mine, Nadia, who suggested that maybe I should ask if there's an exchange, an option to get a brand new replacement, which for some reason I didn't even think of, but I know I didn't think of it, and that's because there are none. So I did check that option and there are none currently available. So if you know any different to that, let me know, but on face value, I believe that there are none available because I waited for 6 months for mine. So I've decided to go with the repair. I sent my local SA's details to London. They got in touch and now there's a plan in place. I'm waiting for Bibi to return from holidays and then I'll take the bag in and the process for repair will begin. Now, I've made it really, really clear that if the repair doesn't look as good as the original bag, if it's not pristine, then it's not good enough. I don't want it. And I will look to take the refund. But I love this bag. I want to have this bag in my closet. I want to have this bag as an option. Am I outraged? No. And is there any point being outraged with sales staff? No. There are a lot of people on YouTube that get outraged, whether they really do or it's just clickbait for you to watch videos. This kind of stuff happens. It happens. There's no point getting upset about it. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it's disappointing. Yes, it means I won't have it for when I want to have it. But that's life. Like, let's just get on with it. There's been resolutions offered and I'm really happy with those. For me, my bag collection is not a typical bag collection. I've just filmed a tag where I was asked to come up with my 5 best everyday bags and I realise I don't have everyday bags. It's not my vibe. None of my bags are for everyday use. Does that mean that they should fall apart after the first wear? No, it does not. But all of my bags have, you know, very delicate materials or fabrics. They have beading, they have sequins, they have wicker, macrame. Like, it's just what I am drawn to. And there were quite a few comments on my post saying things like, I would never buy a bag like that, too many issues. And I'll read some of them and respond for the purposes of this video. So one of the first responses that I got on my Instagram post was, so if you were not a valued client of Fendi, would it be tough titties? In essence, they're blaming you for being in contact with an abrasive surface. I don't know the answer to that. Personally, but I do know that talking to a couple of people in the DMs on Instagram, because most of you guys who buy Fendi talk to me, particularly if you have problems, and a couple of people have had similar issues with, say, sequins that have had little bits of silver, and I've made videos about online ordering, particularly with quality problems, not just Fendi but other houses, but Fendi featured quite a bit in that. And the lack of accountability that's taken for sending out bags when there's no face-to-face contact. So they've purchased online and had problems with sequins missing colour on them and being silver on the ends, and have felt like they've needed to push a little bit to get an appropriate response, but still got one. So either we managed to be able to do an exchange or a return and refund. So most people, it seems, won't opt for a repair. I want the bag. I'm not looking to cut my losses and get $6,000 in my bank account and not have the bag. I want the bag. And I trust that Fendi will make it right. So if you don't have that sense of trust, I don't know whether it depends if you've got an Instagram or a YouTube. I mean, I'm very small, right? But I do talk about Fendi a lot. I acknowledge that. I mean, I'm not small. My platforms are small. But I think that if anybody was sharing, content where somebody at Fendi could see it who was related to them in some way, they would do something about it. That's what I like to think. It's certainly been my experience, and I don't consider myself a Fendi VIP. Only, I have to acknowledge that, yes, I do have a profile that connects with Fendi, but it's not a formal one, and I have a lot of respect for the brand because I like their things, but I will equally share when I'm not happy about things as well. So I'm not drinking any Kool-Aid in that respect. There are a few comments here, some really, constructive ones. Send that baby in for some TLC. A lot saying that's not cool at all. Where can I see their response? WTF, this is insane. A little bit of, anger, and I think that's another point that I have to acknowledge, that if these bags, yes, they're expensive, they're terribly expensive, we wait a long time for them, are they exclusive or are they not? And then something like this happens. A regular person, of which I am one, should have a right to feel disappointed and aggrieved by it. I'm not outraged, because I think it relates to what I said about losing my mojo in a previous video, and I'll link that one above as well. But I'm not outraged because this bag doesn't define me in any way. It doesn't mean that because I got a bag that fell apart that it doesn't mean anything. It's just luck of the draw. If it turns out that the bag can't be repaired to a standard that I'm happy with and I can't have it, so long. I want to give it that chance for sure, but so long. I don't want to be emotional about these things where it harms me in any way. I'm happy to be emotional and giddy and excited when I receive something into my collection, but when it comes to losing it or damaging it or having it stolen, things that happen, I don't want to be consumed by emotions when those things happen. That's just me. This one, I tried a different colour sequin one on a few months back, and the way the sequins are attached didn't seem promising at all. I was so disappointed when I had issues with my sequin. Devastating and stressful. I hope Fendi make it right, because something like this is stressful. This one, I would never buy a bag like that. Too many issues. My essay at Fendi told me about falling sequins, so Fendi should be aware of this as an issue and to give more options until the quality issue is corrected. I completely agree with you. Sequins should be knotted after each other, maybe every two, and so strange they didn't send extras. I hope things work out. Sending lots of hugs. So on the whole, most people were really constructive, but a lot of people were quick to tell me that they would never buy a bag like this because of the quality problems. And, I think that's really unfair, because I have a number of very delicate bags, and my Purple Rain Sequin Baguette I've had for almost 3 years and no problem. So I did say that when the 25th anniversary of the Baguette re-editions were released, and also all of the sequin pieces for cruise, that it was going to be interesting for quality because of the amount of work involved in all of those pieces. A lot of beading, embroidery, sequins, and so on. A lot of work. Now, these would have been made quite a while ago. Plus there are made to orders happening at the same time. So it was bound to show some cracks. And when these bags were originally released back in the late 90s, so my mirror baguette over there were waiting lists for a reason, because they weren't mass production items. They were very small numbers. And I think that that's possibly something that Fendi needs to have a look at, so that they don't turn into a Chanel and lose all of the good things about their house by trying to make too much of it. So I am going to pack my bag up once again. I'm going to take it into my local Fendi, and they are going to make arrangements for the bag to be repaired, and I'll continue to update you guys on the saga. But I have to say, I'm really happy with the response that I've received from Fendi's customer service. I really am. I have no idea whether that's got anything to do with the fact that I do YouTube videos and I have a small platform, or whether or not all customers are treated in this way. But I've certainly felt very well looked after. And remember, these guys don't make the bag and they don't make the decisions. And so all they can do is help you come up with a solution to remedy the situation. And I'm very happy with the solutions that have been offered to me. For the rest of you guys, don't lose faith. Don't let what's happened here put you off buying the bags that make you smile. At the end of the day, we all take little risks, and these are not everyday bags. And yes, on the first wear, could I have been more unlucky? No. But when I asked you on a recent Instagram poll, what, is your first priority when it comes to purchasing luxury handbags, do you want to take a guess at the percentage of people who said it had anything to do with quality? A guess? Anybody? Let me tell you. The lowest ranked factor in relation to purchasing a handbag out of the 4 options I provided was quality. The lowest at 8%, and I'll tell you what the votes were in a second. The function was 18%. The colour was 30%, and the style or brand was 43%. So we know that we look for a brand or a style of bag first and foremost, then colour. Then we think about how we're going to wear it, then we think about quality. And for me, I kind of liken that to the way that I purchase luxury as well, in the fact that I assume quality, right? It's not going to be the first thing I look at, because otherwise, if I related that to shoes, which I also asked people about, I would have a whole bunch of probably very ugly shoes that were of the highest quality, but I hated and wouldn't wear. It's the same for bags. For shoes, quality again was at 8%, but comfort popped up because that was a new criteria. So between the style and the brand and the comfort factor, they were both about equal at 35% each. So colour then came in afterwards. But I thought it was a really interesting question to ask. So in total, there were 160 votes for style or brand being the most important component of purchasing a luxury brand, 112 for colour or the material, 68 for function and how you use it, and only 29 votes for quality. Almost 350 votes there, and 29 people said quality was the most important. So I know I'm not alone. And I hope that for those of you who are considering buying something a little bit special that might need a little bit more TLC, that this doesn't put you off. Those are the bags that make me smile the most. As I said, they're not everyday bags. They're not something that you're going to swing on and, ride to the death. You're going to be careful with them and treasure them like the treasures that they are. So please continue to challenge yourself to do that and really make your inner bag fairy smile. So stick around, I will keep you guys updated on what happens next. If you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to head over to Instagram, where I'll keep you updated on stories, DaylesAddiction. I put out videos on Wednesdays and Sundays, and sometimes some extra ones, so I would love to see you back. Ciao till then.